Hi, folks. Steve Urban here. Today's episode of the Riderflex podcast is sponsored by Marketing 360. My good friend JB Kellogg and his team do such a fantastic job for us and so many other companies. Marketing 360 is the number one platform for small business, and it's everything you need to grow your business. If you need marketing support, I really encourage you to contact them at marketing360.com/Riderflex, and we'll add that link to the description of this episode for easy reference. And on today's episode of the Riderflex podcast, we have Abeer Abu Judeh. She is the founder at LexDock. That's LexDock.com, LexDock. It's your legal concierge platform. For most small to medium-sized businesses, managing legal affairs can seem impossible. How do you know you are making the right decisions? How do you even begin to hire the right attorney? The good news is now it can be as easy as opening an app with LexDock. Abeer Abu Judeh on the Riderflex podcast. How you doing, Abeer?
Glad to be here. Thank you for hosting, Steve.
Oh, you're welcome. So you're in beautiful Golden, Colorado today?
That's right. I mean, one of the most beautiful things about Colorado is that mountain views. I'm at 9,200 feet above Denver, and every window that I have has a mountain view. It couldn't get more beautiful today.
Nice. Now, and you're not from here originally, right? I think you lived on the East Coast for a long time, and so you've only been in Colorado for how many years?
About 3 years now, but originally from Palestine. And when I first came to the United States, I resided in New Jersey, and for most of my life and career, I resided in New Jersey.
And you've been in Colorado for almost 3 years now. It's really Colorado's hard to beat, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Well, I have to say, I'm at heart New Yorker, New Jerseyan. Colorado is a little different. It's a beautiful canvas, but I don't know. It's like
too slow. Is it too slow for you? Too laid back for you?
Well, it does have that part. But I think people here are good-hearted and they're well-intended, and that matters.
It does. Yeah, it does. Well, tell us about some of your early childhood and family and all that stuff. Walk us through some of your personal history. Go ahead.
Oh, my. You ready for this, Steve?
I'm ready.
So I was born in a refugee camp in Palestine. And a few years into my, childhood, my father decided that he no longer wanted the family that he had. Oof. And my parents separated, which meant my mother, who was a teacher, had the responsibility of raising 6 children by herself. Wow. It's I am one of the luckiest people on earth because my mother was a strict disciplinarian, and
she had to be. She had to be.
She managed. I mean, you couldn't do it in this day and time, back in her day, and she did do it. She did it successfully. We all grew up to be healthy, safe. We didn't lose any of our limbs. We grew up in a war zone, so things were a little different there. And so when and this is the misconception about Arabs and Palestinians and Muslims in general. Everybody thinks that we hate America, which is so far from the truth. Everything I wanted as a child is to come to America, to live the dream, to be here. And everybody else was jealous that I got the opportunity to do this.
Were you the first one in your family? Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
My father was here. My brother was here before I immigrated. It was one of those things that my mom never wanted me to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Culturally, it's not acceptable it's not desirable. It's a girl in Palestine. Your future is get married, have a few babies, not have a career, be a lawyer.
So when you got out of, did you leave right after you got out of high school, or to come over here to college, or what was the time frame on that?
It took me a little while to convince my mother. So I remember we didn't talk for about 6 months after, I told her I wanted to go to college, and she was adamant that no girl of mine is going to college.
Wow.
So finally she relented, and I reconnected with my father, who was basically unknown to me. I didn't really know too much about him. Okay. And when I came here, things were so different, Steve. So different.
Right. I mean, yeah. So tell us. Yeah. Talk to me. So you did you fly into? Do you remember what airport did you fly into JFK the very first time, or where'd you fly? What did you fly into? Do you remember?
I do believe it was JFK, and I'll tell you a funny story about that, because when we landed, we wanted to make a phone call, and we're used to like travel back home. We did not have some of the basics that are available here in the US, and we had to actually take 2 buses to go find a phone locally to use. And the phone was like a rotary phone, like the one that you dial.
Yes.
And when we landed in New York City, JFK, trying to find a phone, we saw like booths in the middle of the different locations. And I head to it, and it has buttons, and they had letters on them. You couldn't tell what that was and how you dial. It was...
That's pretty good. That's pretty funny. Who was with you?
At the time, I was immigrating with one of my sisters and 2 brothers.
Wow. Okay. So your mom. All right. So let me make sure I understood, because I think one of your brothers was already over here, and then 3 more siblings came.
4, including me.
Yeah. So
that's
4,
me and 3 others.
Yeah. Okay. So wow. So, and you said there were 6 of you all together. So your mom is probably thinking, hey, all you guys are leaving me over here after I worked hard all those years to raise you. Everybody's leaving me.
My mom had a really difficult time because she was a single mom, and she tried to instill a lot of values in us. And at some point, it gets to you. She became very depressed. She had her own issues, and one of the terms of our agreement, me and her, is that I would come with my sister and 2 brothers. So she relented to let me go.
I see.
If and only if.
Okay. All right. So now, did you already have the college picked out that you wanted to go to? Was there already kind of a plan, or you just wanted to get over here?
I did. I wanted to go to Rutgers University, and I was really excited about that. Okay. I worked my hardest to try and fill out the applications, despite all my English and background, and I put a lot of effort into it. And then it was my brother's responsibility, my older brother, who was already here, to take that application to Rutgers University.
Was he at Rutgers already? Was he there as a student?
He had already graduated from Rutgers and was at the University of Medicine and Dentistry. So he decided that he did not want me to go to college either, and decided to hide my application in his glove compartment in the car.
What?
I know. It's a very conservative family. I understand it.
Did you say, hey, Dad, help me out here? How'd that go?
How did that go, Steve, is a good story. I was, when I found it was already too late, because the deadline for the application has already passed. And it was me having an honest conversation here to tell them look, I came here to go to college. If you don't want me to go to college, send me home. I'll go do whatever my mother wanted me to do from the beginning.
Okay.
And that's when my father took me to a college that was literally down the street from where we were living, Bloomfield College.
Okay.
They told him that the only way they can accept me if I take a test that consisted of different subjects. And if I pass the test, they will admit me. And I passed the test.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So that's how you got into Bloomfield, which is in New Jersey, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay. What was your dad doing at the time? If you don't, yeah.
My dad owned a grocery store.
Oh, okay.
So he was working in Newark, New Jersey, in retail.
But he owned a store. So there's the first sign of the entrepreneurial spirit right there. So that, I don't know if that played into you eventually being an entrepreneur or not, but your dad was an entrepreneur and a business owner.
You can look at it that way, Steve. But I'm not going to give him credit for that one.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you go to Bloomfield, go ahead. Now, no idea at this point you were going to be a lawyer and get your law degree, right? I'm just guessing.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, people that come from my background, you're lucky if you're alive. I mean, I've accomplished a lot already by getting on an airplane, landing safely.
How'd you decide to major in biology? What were you thinking you were going to be?
I was really thinking that I'm going to follow in my brother's footsteps and become a physician.
I see. Okay. That's why.
And that's where that background in biology came from. And while I was in school, I actually volunteered as an EMT.
Okay.
And that's the moment I decided perhaps medicine is not my calling.
Did you see some blood or something? You saw something bad. You're like, yeah, I don't want to do this.
You know what? I will tell you this story because this person was a very good teacher of mine, professor in college. He was my math professor. And I've aced every single one of his classes. And when I was volunteering, he was one of the individuals that I had to pick up on the rig. He was so proud of me that day, and I couldn't believe that he remembered me, and he knew that I was one of his top students.
How about
that?
Wow.
It was a moment. Let's put it that way.
Okay. How did you decide when to go to law school? Or how did you decide and when?
I took some time off. I was working as a scientist. I worked for the University of Medicine and Dentistry, and I was in the lab, used to, working with sterile environments and clean lab. And then while I was working in the lab, the repetitive work, the everyday operations, exactly the same as the day before, it gets to you, I think. I mean, we appreciate all the medical professionals, scientists that are working really hard these days to get us out of this debacle we're in. Right. But I didn't think I was fit to spend the rest of my life in the lab. And I started investigating what else is out there. At the time, I was living on my own. I was responsible for everything, including apartment, vehicle, anything else that I needed to. And I was fascinated with justice. The whole concept of justice followed me throughout my life since I was born, to be honest. You see the injustices and you want to do something about it. And I figured maybe law school is the place where you find that.
Okay. And then you got enrolled at Seton Hall and you ended up getting your law degree. And so that's why your early career in the legal field was tied to health, is because you had that early biology. You worked in kind of the health or lab or scientific field, and then your your early law degree kind of tied to that a little bit. Is that accurate?
Yes, so I consider myself a professional, a legal professional who's a healthcare practitioner as well as a technology practitioner, because
Okay.
I've worked closely in both those areas.
Okay.
And most of my experience is in the healthcare and technology.
I saw that. And then after a pretty successful career, at some point you said, I want to start a business. Talk to us about, transition us into LexDock and how this came about. Go ahead.
LexDock is really my child of passion. When you love something so much, you want to give it your all. And again, justice is part of why I'm doing this.
Mhm.
I don't know how much you know about the legal profession, but it's not necessarily a profession that allows women, minorities, somebody who is of my background, the same opportunities available to white males. And don't hear me wrong, I have very influential white males in my life that I appreciate and have
Yeah.
tremendous respect for. But 88% of the legal professionals today are white males.
Oh, wow.
We know,
I had no idea that was the stat. If you would have asked me to guess the stat, wow. Okay. Yeah. That's super
yeah,
high. All right.
yeah. So graduating from law school, there are 51% females. What happens?
Interesting.
Something,
Interesting.
yeah, it's very interesting. There is inequity. There is a change of circumstance that forces women out of this legal field.
Mm,
And you can't really say it's because they have children, because men also are responsible fathers and they do contribute to the family. And
right.
some of us women did not choose to take the growing family part. So we can't all be punished because some have children.
Right.
Perhaps I said it the wrong way, but
No, I
uh,
totally get it. I hadn't thought about it like you're describing until just now. So, okay. All right.
we're also talking about minorities and African Americans, Mexicans, Arabs, you name it. Where
Mhm.
are they? I'm sure they are graduating from law school as well,
Right.
but 88% is white males. Uh,
Interesting.
so,
Mm,
so LexDock was a child of passion of mine. I always wanted to serve the community and serve the profession. And I don't know how much you know about the legal profession, Steve, but 88% of legal professionals out there are white males. So where are all these women graduating from law school? We have 51% of female students graduating law school. We also have a lot of minority students. Somehow they are dropping out at a certain point for whatever the reason may be. By building this platform, a cloud-based SaaS solution, allowing businesses to manage their everyday legal affairs, and if they needed an attorney, they are able to connect with outside counsel on the platform where they can manage all of their legal affairs, including corporate governance, IP practices, real estate, um, you name it, any legal matter that they may have, they can host it on the platform and continue to manage outside counsel during the process.
and there's no competition or anybody else doing this when you first started this. Nobody else has got this going on.
You think the ABA and big law firms would have thought that's a solution that's important to all of us, but it kind of is not something that they paid attention to. Democratization of the legal marketplace was, I guess, not a top priority. Equalizing the playing field so women, minorities can compete and be permitted to earn wages with dignity and without having to worry about giving some of their earnings to their partner and the managing partner, shareholder, and others, I guess was not a top priority, Steve.
Wow. Okay. All right. And then how big is the business now? How many employees?
I do have about 4. I also have advisors, so a total we could say we're a powerful 10.
And this is your full-time gig, right? You're doing this full-time. You're not like doing some other stuff on the side. Like you're all in on this thing.
I am all in. This is do or die, Steve.
I love it. How did you bootstrap it yourself? Because you're not a developer to, build some of this, write the code. So did you bootstrap this? Did you hire some coders? Talk to us about how you got it up and running.
So I bootstrapped the company to date.
Okay.
I have relationships with different advisors and supporters that have helped me along the way.
Okay.
People that I could not have possibly done this without them. We launched the business in July of 2019. Since then, we had amazing success. I mean, I was on Lolly, Colorado, featured as a new marketplace on the market. I was in e-news, Women e-news. In January, I believe I was in Business Insider, featured as one of 6 innovators,
Wow.
women innovators.
Wow.
And in February, LexDock was actually named, not only nominated, but named 2020 Emerging Legal Technology. So I know I'm doing something right.
Congratulations. All right. That's great. All right. You get lots of press. And so who's your typical customer? Like what size business are you targeting? Talk to us about that.
We help businesses of all sizes, and we have different plans to accommodate the size and amount of legal work that they would need on our platform. We're here to provide a solution and to really democratize the marketplace. It's not so much about just business as usual. There is a purpose behind it. Once you democratize the marketplace and you connect the business to the attorney directly, you've eliminated the middleman, the big cost center for any attorney who has to pay the partner and so on. So here you're connecting them directly and you're enabling them to conduct their business securely. No more emails, for example. You see a lot of attorneys exchanging emails. And then the business who's receiving all these emails on the other end, they have to go through the process of managing all of these emails. As in-house counsel, I was receiving 100 plus. I was managing 200 plus agreements, but I had projects that I was managing. And during that, all of the communications coming in from outside counsel is happening on my email. The platform eliminates that part of the job. I got to work as an administrator, just filing from email to folder. Here, you're working directly in the case. Did I digress?
No, I think that's okay. I wanted to ask, so let's say Riderflex. Let's use my own business for a second.
Yeah.
If we needed legal support for whatever reason, documents, I don't know, whatever, we were working on something, would I contact a lawyer first and then have that lawyer say, I want to use LexDock, or do I contact you first? How do I proceed if I'm an entrepreneur with a new business and I don't have in-house counsel or an attorney that we're using? What do I do first?
So you would need to create an account. So you sign up to join LexDock. You'll have an account. And on an everyday basis, you have access to that account where you can store all of your legal affairs. If you have incorporation documents, if you have any contracts, if you have any business dealings that you routinely manage, you can upload all of these documents and manage them and communicate with your internal team
Mm.
on the platform to kind of resolve those issues that are coming up. If you need an attorney, that's when you reach out and say, okay, this is the type of the attorney that I need, and we will help you find one. But if you already have an existing attorney, your attorney could just sign up for his account and you connect on the platform.
I see. Okay. And how do you make your money by the monthly service fee that my company would pay you, or do you also charge the attorney? What's the business model?
The business model is really a fair one where everybody is responsible for some of the cost.
I
The
see.
business has a subscription plan. We allow you to manage all of your legal affairs on a platform that you can access 24/7 in the cloud, secure, with backups. And the attorney also is paying a little subscription to help them connect with the right business at the right time.
Because it's almost like a referral, right? That you're saying, hey, I got Steve from Riderflex needing an attorney. I'm gonna connect you, Mrs. Attorney, with Steve, but you're gonna pay a fee for that of some kind.
They usually would be members with an account,
I
which
see.
means they already are actively utilizing the platform on a monthly basis. So it's not like you pay extra when I connect you with Steve. You
Hmm.
just continue to pay whatever your monthly membership is.
Okay, cool. And so do you mind me asking, like, how many companies involved and how many lawyers do you have? Like, what's the you know, ecosystem look like right now? How big is it?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, coronavirus is killing everybody. And I just,
Right, don't remind me.
so it had curtailed a lot of the business prospecting. It has
Yeah.
curtailed my fundraising.
Mm.
Luckily, my mother taught me how to be a penny pincher, and I have a little bit of reserves that's allowing me to continue in the business in the product development area. But I do have a successful client base who
Good.
are in there to be supportive and receiving benefit from utilizing my platform. I have both businesses and attorneys.
It sounds to me like, just as a reminder for the listeners, you started like in October of 2018. So you are still making product development enhancements, and are you raising like some seed cash, or are you into a Series A, or what are you calling it with the money you're trying to raise?
We are still at the seed round, Steve. We're not trying to grow big and fast and killing it out there. We just want to grow healthy and do the right thing by the businesses that we take on. We want to develop loyal clients that really appreciate what we're trying to do, not just for their business, but also for the legal profession.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm guessing there won't be any patented, protected, super secret technology on this deal. It's really going to be a kind of a race to market type of deal for you to just get big enough before, I don't know, Salesforce decides to build something like this or whatever. Talk to me about that.
Well, there will always be competition on the market, and that's why if you're first in the market, you gain a segment that's going to grow more interested and loyal to the service you're providing.
Hmm.
At the same time, I've seen other legal businesses fail because they come out of California from tech geniuses who had no experience in the legal profession. I have 15 years, Steve. I
Yeah.
knocked it out of the park. 15
Nice.
years. I've seen it all. I've worked for a federal judge. I worked with some of the major law firms in New York City and New Jersey.
Yeah.
I've worked as in-house counsel. I worked with government. I know my business.
Yeah, for sure. You've put a lot of your own money into this, I'm guessing.
I certainly did, Steve.
What's the scariest moment for you so far in starting this business?
Hmm. I think it was just giving up on the dream of going back in house or finding another secure employment where it's stable And it's just like, like free falling for an entrepreneur. It's like you give up the strict restraints and you just go for it. And that, I think, is the scariest moment to date.
Yeah, right. Because you walked away from a job, right? Didn't you just walk away? You quit your job and said, I'm doing this? Oh,
You're
did I cut
frozen,
out?
Steve.
Did I cut out on you? Did I cut out on you?
You did.
Okay, I'm going to ask that again. Am I back now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just made a little note. I'll clean that up. Did you just quit a job to start this, or did you ease your way out, or did you just say, "Oh, I'm done. I'm quitting. I have a little savings. I'm doing this." Why? I'm just curious.
So, that's one of the things about Colorado. It's a beautiful state. And I came here to join a healthcare system.
I saw that.
After I have run my own solo practice for some time. And my experience with this organization is that I was excluded from certain executive meetings where I should have been. All attorney meetings, and Abeer is the only one missing because she was not invited. I had one male and one female, both white attorneys, that refused to take any meetings with me unless I provided them with a memo describing the purpose of my 15-minute meeting request.
Hold on. Whoa. This is a place you work? You talking about fellow coworkers?
Yes. They're lovely people. They're so handsome and articulate. And I think the worst part of it, Steve, was when I was, a comment was made about me being scary. and I get it. I'm not everybody's typical attorney, but it took me back to when I first arrived in the United States. So when I first came to this country, I didn't really know my dad very well. And he tells me that he had a new wife and he had a child, another sibling. So now I find out I have a sister. He takes me on a ride to go meet my sister. And I'm like, okay, how bad could that be? He takes me to this toy store, tells me to go find her and talk to her. I go in the toy store and I try to talk to this girl. And then out of a sudden, like a whole bunch of people start yelling at me. And I'm like scared. I run out of the store. I get in the car and he takes me away. 2 weeks later, I'm sitting on a bench in the courtroom, and the mother of the daughter is calling me a terrorist because she did not want me to have any contact with her child.
Wow.
And I don't blame her. I do not blame her. She married an individual who it was physically abusive, and he brings this new member to meet her daughter. Probably didn't give her any notice. And I'm like, what did I do? I probably looked like a little terrorist too. Big deal.
Does that drive you nuts? I mean, yeah, you've been in the U.S. for quite a while now, but I mean, that's got to just get on your nerves when people look at you or they give you attitude like, okay, you're an Arab, so you're a terrorist. I mean, that would just, oh man, I don't know if they were treating me that way. It wouldn't be good.
Steve, I think I made it. I'm a citizen. I speak English. I graduated from college, cum laude, and a member of the Alpha Chi National Honor Society of Physics. I have a law degree. I'm an officer of the court, and I still get those comments.
Wow. That blows me away. I can't even, I better not be with you on a happy hour when somebody treat you like that, or they're going to get a mouthful from me.
I really don't show up to work like a crazy person. I put on a suit. I get my hair done, my nails done. I got on 5-inch heels. I mean, how did I exactly scare someone? Did I slap them with my logic? What were they thinking?
So, wow. Yeah, that's a crazy story that you had to send a memo to your coworkers to explain why you needed a
15,
50.
yep,
The
15 minutes.
very first time somebody told me I had to do that as an employee, the next words out of my mouth would have been, "I quit."
I agree with you that that's what I should have done, but
Uh,
the
uh,
separation was a little bit difficult for me financially because I traveled to come here for this
Gotcha. Yep.
position,
Gotcha.
and I couldn't exactly liquidate all of
Yeah. Yep.
everything.
Yep.
And
Well,
once I did, I knew I was doing the right thing by starting LexDock.
I
I
was
was
just,
like,
yeah, exactly. I was just about to say everything happens. Well, I know it sounds corny. I kind of personally believe things happen for a reason. And that's what happened. You moved to Denver and you got put in that situation, that crappy situation. And that drove you to finally starting your own thing. See, all that happened for a reason. It was your destiny, right?
well, I can't wait until businesses buy into what I'm trying to do, because without businesses believing that this is the way forward, not just for the way they manage internal business, because I've been there and
Yeah.
it's not sustainable the way you manage your internal legal affairs, but also from a legal services perspective, it can't go on the way it is
Mm.
happening these days. And once businesses believe in what I'm doing, I know the sky's the limit.
Mm. And by the way, for the listeners, if they want to get in contact with you guys or sign up or try it, they just go to LexDock, LexDock.com. Is that right? LexDock.com.
Yes. And if you don't know what that means, lex is law or legal in Latin, and doc is where you store all of your documents.
I did not know that. I'm glad I do now. I was wondering how you came up with the name. Okay, very good. LexDock was available. That was available on GoDaddy when you looked up the URL, huh?
Believe it or not. They took all the good ones, so I had to come up with something more creative.
I love it. Oh, I love it. No, it's great. Well, congratulations on getting the business to where it's at. I know it's super scary to step out of a full-time job. I mean, you moved to Denver for this job. It sucked, and you're like, I'm just going to start my own thing. I see a need. You're working to fill a need. You got it up and running. Great job. I mean, you've bootstrapped it. Plus, you took on a little friends and family money up front, or you haven't taken on any outside cash at this point.
I have not taken in any money at this
Wow.
point.
Wow. Okay. Wow. All right.
Look, I'm not complaining about the legal profession. It's been really good to me.
Understood.
But it is time to evolve with
Yep.
the times.
I guess, I mean, worst case scenario, it doesn't make it. You could always go back to being a lawyer, right? I mean, that's your fallback. Not that you need a plan B. I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs say, I don't have a plan B. I only have plan A. I'm going to make this work.
Well, I am licensed in New Jersey and New York, and I'm able to work with my license. And I'm also an innovation officer, and I'm able to speak to that and be able to contribute in so many ways. But the goal is to really change the way we look at the delivery of the legal services and try to leave a legacy that means something. It's not going to help me at this point. It's not.
No.
LexDock is not for me. It's for that next generation that's going to see that we tried with my company to change the foundation of how legal services are being provided to make it better, equal opportunity for all of them.
Very good. Let me ask you, we're getting close to wrap up here. Let me ask you a couple, just two last questions. But before that, I'm just curious, how's your relationship with your father now? Are you guys good to go? Is it still, talk to me.
I only stayed in that place for maybe like 2 years. I actually spent the last 2 years of my college education on my own. I had a couple of part-time jobs paying my way through college, and I haven't talked to him since.
Are you serious? Oh man. All right. All right. We got to talk about that offline. I'll push you a little hard. I want
I
to dig
need therapy for that, Steve.
Is your mom doing okay? She's not here, is she?
My mom passed away a few years back.
Okay. Oh, bummer. I'm sorry to hear that. I was wondering. Okay. All right. Your siblings? They're here?
Some of them are here. Some of them went back. I do have nieces and nephews, and we're strong people. We survive.
Are you the only entrepreneur?
I would say no. I think all of us at some point had our own businesses and our ventures and the like.
Okay.
But it's a struggle because where we come from, or when we try to work in the standard environment, we don't exactly fit. And fit is a word that I don't necessarily like in corporate America because it's used in the wrong way. You can't fit me in a box. And when I get, you're not the right fit, I know exactly what they mean by it, Steve. For corporate America out there, if you want to listen to my advice, you'll find a remarkable, exceptional individual, and you make space for them, not just to fit in, but to thrive. And perhaps that could help some of your individuals who are trying to enter the market or find a position.
I love it. That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. If you could call the young lady stepping off the airplane at JFK, what would you tell her?
Go for it.
Go for it. Go for it sooner than you did? Start something sooner than you did?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then if you had to define Abeer's core purpose in life, if you put that into a sentence for me, what would that sound like?
Justice. I think at heart, it's who I am, and what I want to change is make things better, not just for me, because it's too late for me, but to make it better for the next generation and the next people. When I was in New Jersey, I was working with a lot of Syrian refugees that are coming into this country with nothing, with less than nothing. I think I'm even more fortunate than they are because I was lucky enough to have survived. And under the current kind of, how can I say it? Polarized. I think it's a polarized environment they're coming into, and they don't know how to deal with it. And to create new opportunities for them is really important. I don't know if I can do it alone. I need a lot of people to help with this.
Well, you're doing your part, right? You're doing your part.
I'm trying, Steve.
Congratulations on everything you're doing, and for what you've put together over at LexDock. I wish you the best of luck on that. And I'll be watching because I probably need your service pretty soon. I wouldn't mind having somebody to organize all of that for me. So I'll have to call you offline. Plus I get a discount now since you've been on the Riderflex podcast.
It's free for you, Steve. It's free.
The Riderflex podcast features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. Our show can be heard just about anywhere these days, but you can visit riderflex.com and click on the podcast page to hear all the previous episodes and learn more about the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Contact us at the email address info@riderflex.com or 888-964-5876. Thanks so much for listening, and if you enjoy our show, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes.